Hey everybody, welcome to Tams PsychAdvice, where I talk to you about anything that helps you and me to understand people just a little bit better, because I feel like in this life you have to understand people in order to navigate. The ENFJ, the empath. Can you be an ENFJ without having empathic abilities? I know there are other types that can be empaths, but I don't think you can be an ENFJ without being an empath. I think ENFJs, if people understood the intensity of that type, the complexity, the depth of their intuition and intuitive abilities, they would get a lot more attention than what they probably do. Because I think people see them and they see that extroverted feeling side, but they don't see how intense and powerful their psyches work. ENFJs feel other people's pain very deeply. I remember watching a show and somebody said, "Oh, this man has an incredible gift. He can feel people's emotions and pain and know exactly how they're feeling." And I was thinking, is that so unusual? But an ENFJ can relate to that. Physical, emotional, spiritual, we connect with that. So when somebody is feeling really depressed or they're feeling really down, you pick up on that energy and you even take it within yourself intrinsically. And a lot of times it can impact your mood because it's so strong. Even if the person is not telling you that they're down, you can just feel it. It's a subconscious thing. You can't help it. You sort of naturally become the hero for a lot of people because you can take in their emotions and really help them because you know exactly how they feel. That can also be a very painful aspect of an ENFJ because you feel so deeply, because you pick up and connect with other people's feelings, whether it's anger, sadness, frustration, even somebody that's in the wrong. You can even understand how they're feeling, which can make your morals and ethics, even though they're solid and they're strong, it can make them go a little bit crazy because you're able to look at different sides of anyone. You can read the energy of a room sometimes before you get there, but especially while you're there, you pick up on everyone's moods. And sometimes it's like playing ping pong. It can be very draining sometimes when you're interacting with a lot of different people because you're picking up on so many different people's energy. Just trying to resonate in all of those different lanes can be taxing and confusing. It can be an overwhelming feeling. I think ENFJs are empathic because they have a very strong, powerful emotional response to things. Even if it's TV and you're observing their interactions, you can actually feel that, and it evokes a very powerful, strong emotions in you. And that's why personally I have a hard time watching the news. It's like you're taking in every bad story. You know how all of those people feel. It feels so horrible. It just ruins your whole day. It can ruin your whole mood. Illnesses or physical pain of other people. It's like you, as soon as you see them or you hear about what they're going through, you feel it. If somebody's going through some type of tragedy, you feel that. You can step inside that person's world and know exactly how they feel. It's a deep, dark, awful, terrible feeling that you wish you could just turn off. Sometimes you can feel intense exhaustion from certain social interactions. Even though you're extroverted, you just feel so drained. It's like you give so much of yourself because for an ENFJ, that energy is a real tangible thing. You are taking in people's energy and you're also giving them energy that it's almost like you can kind of make people feel what you want them to feel. Sometimes you can feel responsible for saving everyone, for saving the world. You feel like you have to come up with the answers, with the solutions, with what's going to help everything to feel better, everyone to feel better. And you do that with people personally as well. It's almost like you take on that person's problem as though it's your own, and you start to live it out. You start to solve the problem. You almost take it on like it's your responsibility to make this person feel better. And even when you don't want to do that, you can't help it. It's almost like second nature. You sacrifice who you are in place of what they want, what they need. We can go without getting our 5 love languages met. We will be okay as long as you're okay and you're feeling like your needs are getting met. Being able to pick up on people's energies and take them to the next level, to feel better, to enjoy their life better, it can be amazing and wonderful. But sometimes when it's that negative, bad energy, it can really wear you out, send you into a dark space of confusion. And we can also start to ruminate on it, which that's not good. ENFJs know integrity. They feel it. They don't generally like hypocrites because they have such a keen ability to pick up on nuances, and they don't really get that. Sometimes people are dishonest with themselves because they don't know their own truth, or they are operating from their own, defense mechanisms, or they're just trying to make it in life. Sometimes we see things that other people don't even pick up about themselves, and it's frustrating. I know for me personally, I'm super sensitive to sounds, to light, and that's typical of an empath. I know one time somebody told me, when I was hearing ambulance sirens, they're helping people, because something bad is happening. You start taking that in, and just it's like you just want to escape it. Sometimes you need to be one with nature, or one with your thoughts, or be able to explore your own path a little bit to feel better. Empaths can be like that as well. ENFJs know how to not say things that make people feel uncomfortable, even if it's the truth. ENFJs are like empaths in that way. They know not to say everything that they're thinking, feeling, what they're picking up on, because it's just going to make somebody feel uncomfortable. Maybe that person doesn't have the skills or techniques to make themselves feel better. Well, empaths can feel the energy, the emotional and physical experiences of other people or even animals. You just feel it. You know what they're feeling, and ENFJs are that same way. You experience the pain, the suffering, the emotions of other people. It just emanates from them to you. So you can feel the depth of people's sadness, their grief, their exhilaration, all of it. It's very powerful, very strong. And whereas other people can kind of let that go, you can't. Empaths can feel like they're reading other people's minds, which an ENFJ can relate to. You can understand what another person means at the deepest core level, which is why I think sometimes people gravitate towards ENFJs, because when they connect with you, they can let you know, I understand exactly how you feel. And for most people, that's a really good feeling. But what's crazy is if you're having just a regular conversation with us, you're not going to pick up on that. They're feeling you, they're reading you. It's sometimes embarrassing if I'm already overwhelmed myself and dealing with my own issues or situations. It's really hard to hear someone else's pain, and I think sometimes that can be a good thing or a bad thing, because it helps me when somebody can deal with my pain and they can separate themselves from it. But I can't always do that very well as an ENFJ. Being an ENFJ or in the realm of an empath, it can be fun at times though too. Of course it can be fun. I'm not saying that an ENFJ is reading every single thought. Sometimes we're accepting you face value because we're not turning that on, but sometimes something can trigger it, and then we get into your head and into your emotions. ENFJs are like tofu. So I could also call this video ENFJs the tofus. Because what does tofu do? It picks up on whatever flavor that it's in or that surrounds it. And that's exactly what ENFJs do. Sometimes we don't even know who we are. It's like it becomes elusive because you are who you're around. You are who you're with. Their energy dictates your energy. And that's why sometimes if you start a new job and you're an ENFJ, you're kind of trying to figure out everybody else, because that's going to dictate how you navigate and how you operate. If you are around people who are like, I'm tough, a no nonsense type of person, it's like, yeah, I'm a no nonsense kind of person. Or if they believe, hey, be gentle and kind to everybody. It's almost like a survival skill or a defense mechanism. Sometimes we don't know what we want or who we are or what matters or what doesn't matter, because what matters depends on the people who are around us. You know, we definitely want to function at a higher level. We want efficiency. We want things to go smoothly and well, but we know how to sort of blend into our environment and navigate in that arena, if it makes sense. ENFJs and empaths know what people like and what they don't like. ENFJs and empaths absorb people's energy and to some extent their emotions, their thoughts. You've learned at an early age that it's easier to fit in and to accommodate, and we sort of know how to avoid being an outcast, even if inside we're actually kind of nerdy, kind of brainy. We learn how to navigate. We are sort of natural survivors. I think we're sort of like planes. We navigate above altitude, that we're always in tune with. Like, what's above the surface? What's below the surface? That's where we feel comfortable. Are there certain parts of being an empath that I cannot relate to and don't want to relate to? Absolutely. They were saying with empaths, some of them can touch an object that someone has touched and feel things. I don't know if I do that. I mean, most recently I can think of one of my neighbors asked me could they borrow my trash can because they were moving and they needed an extra one, and it was just on a note, and I felt so much pain in that note, and all it was asking me was to borrow something. So I don't know these people well enough to know anything about their lives, but I felt an enormous sadness and enormous pain. I felt like, okay, something is going on here. I don't know, maybe I was wrong. Clear knowing, I think ENFJs have that. If you've had a gut feeling or just kind of know something is going to happen, like somebody's telling you about a relationship, for example, and you already know it's not going to work out. Sometimes you want to save them from it. Now, as far as like always like knowing the future and what's going to happen to everybody when, no, not necessarily to that degree. You have the ability to receive intuitive insight through feeling and sensation. For example, if you can feel what someone else is feeling and simply know the reason why or understand it, then you're operating in that. Another thing is if you have a gut feeling or simply you knew something was going to happen without any evidence, or you may receive simple insights about people and situations occasionally. Now, something interesting that they said that some empaths feel is if you've ever been able to taste something without actually having it in your mouth, to literally taste it. I don't know if I do that or not. The only thing I know is that like there have been times when I said, okay, I want to lose weight. And one of the techniques that I've always used is I'll get cookbooks and I will literally go through the cookbooks and look at the pages, look at the pictures, and I can taste what that feels like. And it's so satisfying to me that it takes away that need for whatever it is that I'm craving, because it feels like I'm already tasting it. I got told a couple of people to do that and they looked at me like I was crazy, like, how's that gonna help anything? I hope you learned something new about yourself and about ENFJs, because I think ENFJs are people who I think do have some empathic tendencies. Thank you for watching. Bye.